The Russian Federation is intensifying its offensive in the Pokrovsk direction. Heavy fighting continues, and defenders are holding back the enemy, according to the operational strategic group Khortytsia. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian troops have intensified the offensive in the areas of Rusyn Yar, Poltavka, Popov Yar, Razine, Volodymyrivka, Yelyzavetivka, and Malynivka. The enemy also attempted to push Ukrainian defenders out of positions near Myroliubivka, Sukhyi Yar, Lysivka, Udachne, Novomykolaivka, and Oleksiivka. Russian troops are attempting to utilize their numerical advantage and launch an offensive, but the armed forces of Ukraine are mounting fierce resistance. It is also reported that in the Novopavlivka direction, assault groups of the invaders attacked in the areas of Vesele, Zaporizhzhia, Komar, Vilne Pole, Shevchenko, and Zelenyi Hai. Units of the defense forces are actively countering the superior enemy forces, inflicting significant losses and reducing the potential of their offensive actions. The situation remains tense, and hostilities are ongoing. Ukrainian troops are holding their positions. Unable to break into the agglomeration of Pokrovsk and Myrnograd, the Russian occupiers are trying to bypass it from the east. If you look at the map of military operations, it is clear that the enemy does not plan to attack Pokrovsk itself. The commander of the UAV crew of a separate detachment of unmanned systems, Typhoon, with the call sign, Skiff, told Channel 24 about this, explaining that such an offensive would lead to huge losses. Russia understands this. Overall, the situation is difficult, but the Ukrainian military continues to destroy the enemy. The occupiers' offensive actions lead to an increase in their losses. In total, since March 2025, this direction has been one of the hottest. About half or a third of all offensive actions take place there. The occupiers want to bypass the city from the east and west. So far, the enemy has managed to create the largest salient in the eastern direction. This threatens the logistics that lead to Pokrovsk, the military man added. Logistics is one of the key elements of the introduction of military operations. Pokrovsk is definitely beyond the enemy's reach, but at the same time, this requires large supplies from the Ukrainian armed forces via the main logistics routes. The enemy is approaching them, which creates a certain danger for logistics. For this, the enemy uses long-range drones, in particular the Malynivka and FPV drone. But we cannot talk about total control over logistics. Logistic routes are covered with nets that create obstacles for the enemy, the UAV crew commander said.
The Special Operations Center A of the Security Service of Ukraine is considered one of the most effective among the defense forces. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the Special Operations Center A has destroyed 1,610 tanks of the Russian occupiers. This was reported by the SBU press service on the occasion of the 31st anniversary of the center's creation. According to the head of the security service, Vasily Malyuk, the center's special forces are systematically reducing the combat potential of the Russian Federation and achieving significant results in this regard. Every sixth tank destroyed by the Ukrainian Defense Forces is the result of the SBU, and the CSOA is already responsible for 1,610 of them, and this number will only grow, he emphasized. In total, the CSOA accounted for minus enemy equipment worth more than $5.5 billion, tanks, combat vehicles, air defense systems, electronic warfare systems, and other equipment, excluding losses as a result of the SBU Special Operation Spiderweb. Among the Russian equipment that was destroyed by the fighters of the SBU Special Operations Center A, as of June the 20th, 2025, 1,610 tanks, 2,878 BBM, 229 MLRS, 2,655 artillery systems, 329 air defense systems, 367 electronic warfare/reconnaissance systems, 1,937 UAV, 4 helicopters. A recent, or as the military say, extreme example is the destruction of 41 aircraft of the Russian strategic aviation. I deliberately emphasize the word extreme because this special operation is definitely not the last. It's just that now we are planning new surprises for the enemy, which we will implement, in particular, with the help of fighters of the A Special Operations Center and other brothers, Malyuk emphasized. As reported on June the 1st, the SBU conducted a unique special operation. It was called Web. At the same time, 4 military airfields in the rear of the Russian Federation were hit: Olenya, Ivanovo, Diaghilevo and Belaya. Strategic aviation of the aggressor state, which regularly shells peaceful Ukrainian cities, was based there. To carry out the special operation Web, UAVs were used, which were specially developed and manufactured by SBU engineers. These drones are a unique development of the special service using modern technologies, which allowed them to be controlled remotely in real time, thousands of kilometers from the state border of Ukraine, bypass the enemy's existing counteraction and effectively destroy strategic aviation. From Lapland in North Finland to Lublin Voivodeship in eastern Poland, a new and explosive Iron Curtain is about to descend on Europe, writes analyst David Blair for the Daily Telegraph. Every NATO country along the way has decided that deterring a Russian invasion requires defensive measures that would once have been unthinkable. If necessary, they will seed the quiet pine and birch forests along their borders with millions of landmines, weapons once considered so abhorrent that much of the world tries to ban them forever, the expert notes. He recalled that Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania and Poland had announced their withdrawal from the 1997 Ottawa Convention, which bans anti-personnel landmines. Later in June, all 5 states are expected to give the United Nations formal notice of their withdrawal, which would allow them to produce, stockpile and deploy such munitions from the end of the year. Together, they guard 3,460 kilometers of NATO's border with Russia and Belarus. He said military planners were already calculating which areas of European forests and lakes would be mined with these deadly devices packed with explosives and shrapnel if Russian President Vladimir Putin concentrated his forces against the alliance. The looming return of minefields across vast swathes of Europe signals the quiet collapse of the international campaign to ban the weapon, famously championed by the late Princess Diana. The expert writes, Ukraine is a tragic illustration of this inescapable truth. More than 20 years ago, the country ratified the Ottawa Convention and destroyed most of its landmines. Yet, thousands of square kilometers of Ukrainian territory were contaminated with these weapons by the Russian invaders anyway. In a new Europe, where every country is rethinking its defenses, he believes the deadly Iron Curtain that could soon descend on the picturesque forests of Lithuania and its NATO neighbors is the clearest sign of what might lie ahead. Recently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski has said Russian President Vladimir Putin could attack a NATO member country within the next 5 years to test the alliance's strength. According to him, Ukraine is currently holding Russia back, but new threats may lie ahead. We believe that starting from 2030, Putin may have significantly greater opportunities, Zelensky said in an interview with Sky News. The Ukrainian president called on the West not to delay, emphasizing that Russia is already planning new military campaigns. In any case, Putin needs a pause. He needs sanctions lifted. He needs a trained army, and 10 years is a very long time. By that time, he will have a new army ready